I'm here.
오셨어요?
I booked a new embassy.
진짜요? 박수!
I did well, didn't I?
네, 어디예요?
It's Colombia.
아, 콜롬비아요.
Yes. And the interview topic is Korea and Colombia's cooperation in the clean energy field.
와.
Oh, by the way, aren't you an expert in this field? Didn't you conduct a special project on the World Environment Report with 24 ambassadors to talk about each country's efforts to reduce climate change?
전문가라고 하긴 좀 그렇고 준 전문가 정도로 해둘까요?
You must know a lot about this topic.
하나 기억나는 게 2021년에 P4G 정상회의를 서울에서 개최했었잖아요.
That's right.
근데 그 다음 개최지가 콜롬비아였어요. 그래서 올해 9월에 콜롬비아에서 P4G 정상회의가 열렸었죠. 콜롬비아가 굉장히 야심찬 온실가스 감축 목표를 가지고 있었던 것도 기억이 나네요.
You're right. You do know very well.
그럼 이쯤에서 톡톡님이 우리 시청자들을 위해서 콜롬비아의 클린 에너지 정책에 대해서 좀 설명해 주시죠.
Me.
네, 준비해 오셨잖아요. 다 알아요.
You're right. Let's start. The Colombian government is actively pursuing policies to diversify energy sources and foster new and renewable energy to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, prepare for the depletion of oil and coal resources, and reduce dependence on hydroelectric power generation, which is vulnerable to climate change. In accordance with the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change or UNFCCC, the Colombian government announced in 2015 that they would reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 20% by 2030. Based on its performance in 2020, this target was re-established to a 51% reduction target. The Petro government, launched in August 2022, selected renewable energy along with agriculture as a major development industry in Colombia. I think this shows the government's determination to reduce dependence on coal and oil and transition to an economic model based on new and renewable energy.
좋아요. 그럼 콜롬비아 대사님을 만나러 가볼까요?
Let's go!
안녕하세요. 대사관 전문 PD 나누리입니다. 나누리입니다. 오늘 저희가 다리가 되어 한국과 연결해볼 국가는 바로 콜롬비아입니다. 여러분, 콜롬비아 하면은 뭐가 떠오르시죠? 커피? 꽃? 아마존? 하지만 오늘 저희가 이야기를 나눠볼 주제는 다 아니고요. 오늘 이야기를 나눠볼 주제는 바로 에너지 전환입니다. 에너지 전환. 두둥. 콜롬비아가 새 정부가 들어선 이후 에너지 전환 정책에 굉장히 많은 힘을 쏟고 있다고 합니다. 그래서 오늘 콜롬비아의 에너지 정책, 그리고 한국과 콜롬비아가 이와 관련해서 어떻게 협력할 수 있는지에 대해서 대사님과 깊은 이야기를 나눠보려고 합니다. 그러면 가볼까요? 관저로 가보겠습니다.
The autumn leaves were beautifully colored on the way to the residence. We are finally here. It is the first time I'm meeting the incumbent Colombian ambassador to Seoul.
Oh, hi!
Hello, how are you?
Ambassador?
Yes,
Hi, nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. I'm Ambassador Alejandro Peláez.
Thank you for inviting me.
One minute, let me briefly introduce you to Colombia. Located in the northwestern part of South America, Colombia is the fifth largest country in Latin America after Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, and Peru, and its territory is 5 times the size of the Korean peninsula. It is the only country in South America that borders both the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean. Excluding its islands, Colombia's territory consists of the western region where the Andes Mountains are located, and the eastern region, where the Amazon lowland plain is located. Colombia is a resource-rich country with energy sources such as crude oil, natural gas, and coal. In addition, thanks to the geological characteristics of the three Andes mountain ranges passing through it, Colombia also possesses abundant mineral resources such as gold, emerald, and nickel. Meanwhile, Colombia participated in the Korean War in 1950 to support South Korea. The two countries established formal diplomatic relations in 1962 and established a strategic cooperative partnership in 2011. In 2013, Korea became the first Asian country to sign an FTA with Colombia.
I heard that you just presented your credentials.
Yes, I presented credentials last week.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
페트로 대통령의 신임장을 제정하게 되어 영광입니다.
하나, 둘, 셋. So the new government of Colombia is putting a lot of effort into energy transition. So what policies does the Colombian government have regarding the energy?
Government of Gustavo Petro is aiming to reach decarbonization goals in 2030.
That's right. Colombia's goal is to achieve 51% reduction of national greenhouse gases by 2030.
The policies basically are 5 policies. The first one is related with investment. The idea is to get companies that has expertise in clean energy sources. Our matrix today is 70% hydro and 30% thermal. So basically the idea is to start to replace the thermal energy source to wind and solar. The second policy is related with gradual transition. So we know that is not going to happen, that transition is not going to happen at once. And also is related with our exports matrix. Today, most of the exports from Colombia are coming from petroleum, coal, and what the government is looking for is a reindustrialization, so those exports are going to be more related with value-added goods, such as agricultural products, what is related also with manufacturing sector, and services. The third policy is the substitution of energy sources that we are using today, not only in industry but also in transportation, that are mainly hydrocarbons, to clean energy sources. The fourth policy is efficiency. Efficiency requires investments in the entire value chain of the power sector, generation, transmission, and distribution. So basically what is happening is that particularly this embassy is aiming to attract investments for components in the 3 parts of the value chain in the energy sector. The sector is demanding new technologies in, for instance, power cables or transformers. So in many devices, many components, as new sources and new technologies are coming, the companies are demanding new appliances in order to increase the efficiency in the power consumption. And finally, what is related with the legal framework and incentives. Basically, the government policy is to create incentives, tax incentives, and ease the regulation for not only companies that uses clean energy, but also investors that believe in the country and decided to invest to create and generate energy from clean sources.
As you mentioned, Colombia is a country with various energy resources such as oil, coal, and natural gas. However, you're still very enthusiastic about the transition to eco-friendly energy. Is there a special reason?
Yes. Once again, the matrix of the country is 70% hydro, so we are already clean in terms of energy generation. But we are seeing this transition as an opportunity also to export, for instance, hydrogen. In order to generate hydrogen, it's better to have it from clean sources such as water, for instance, air, and particularly water is a source that in Colombia we have plenty of water sources, and also we have experience creating energy from water sources.
Just a minute, everyone. The ambassador just said that Colombia wants to make hydrogen with clean energy. Hydrogen can be classified according to the raw materials used in the production process. Let me explain briefly here. First, gray, black, and brown hydrogen are hydrogen produced from fossil fuels. Next, we have blue hydrogen. Blue hydrogen is hydrogen that reduces CO2 emissions by using carbon capture and storage technology. It is more environmentally friendly than gray hydrogen and is more economical than green hydrogen. Lastly, let me tell you about green hydrogen. Green hydrogen is hydrogen obtained by decomposing water with electricity from renewable energy. It is called the ultimate eco-friendly hydrogen as it does not emit CO2 in its production process. The hydrogen made from clean energy that the ambassador just mentioned is green hydrogen.
So definitely is something that we think is an opportunity for us, once again, not only to produce energy for our own consumption, but also to export to different countries, for instance, Korea.
Well, you've mentioned that you're trying to replace the thermal energy to wind and solar power. And I heard Colombia has an advantage for solar and wind energy development.
Yes. For instance, in solar power, the radiation the country receives due to its geographical position is nearly 10 to 15% more than the average, the global average. And in wind, the northern side of Colombia, the northern shore of Colombia, particularly the Guajira Peninsula, has an average of wind speed that is higher, once again, than the average, the global average.
Colombia is considered to have optimal conditions for solar and wind power generation due to its various geographical characteristics, such as being located on the equator, which gives it strong sunshine, and having a long coast bordering both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. In particular, La Guajira, a coastal desert region in northeastern Colombia, has the advantage of being close to the equator and has high-speed winds without natural obstacles, making it an optimal location for wind and solar power generation. As such, La Guajira's solar irradiation level is 60% higher than the global average. Additionally, Colombia has the potential to achieve wind speeds up to twice the world average at 9 meters per second. In particular, the wind speed off the coast of La Guajira exceeds 10 meters a second, the highest in the world. It is more than 4 times faster than the average wind speed of Seoul, South Korea, which is 2.3 meters per second.
So currently there are projects that are installing windmills in the Guajira Peninsula. Basically, what the government is doing and what the private companies are doing is take advantage of the natural conditions this area has and start to generate energy from windmills.
So are there any economic or social obstacles to the transition from fossil fuels to renewables since you have a lot of resources?
Yes, rather than obstacles, I would say challenges. The local communities in Colombia have a participation in the process to install this kind of infrastructure. And yes, we are facing some challenges with particularly the indigenous communities in the northern side of Colombia. But we are very positive as a government that these differences are going to be solved, and soon we are going to be able to, once again, have this power source from windmills coming to, or taking, to be possible to take advantage of those energy sources to create a cleaner matrix.
So are Colombia and Korea now cooperating on clean energy area?
Yes, COICA is today supporting different green projects, and it's not only from the public sector but also for the private sector. Companies that are willing to change their energy sources from traditional energy sources to green energy sources may present a project, and COICA might consider to do cooperation with that. And also, obviously, the public institutions, the government institutions are also very keen to present projects in that matter to COICA. What we are seeing is that the Korean technology in that area is one of the best technologies you can get in the world, and also the friendship that both countries has that started in the 50s when Colombia sent troops to Korea, have been developing, and today is one of the countries that support us in a very positive and strong way in order to Colombia can achieve the goals in 2030 of decarbonization.
Korea and Colombia have, in fact, been cooperating for a long time in the clean energy field. Are you curious about the kind of bilateral cooperation going on? We'll tell you more in detail from now on.
Korea and Colombia are continuously cooperating in various forms regarding clean energy. When the Korea-Colombia Summit was held in Seoul in 2011, the two countries' leaders pledged to promote close cooperation in the resources and energy sectors. And in April 2015, the two countries signed the MOU for Korea-Colombia cooperation in the new energy industry. At the time of the MOU signing, the two countries agreed to share new energy industry development policy experiences and conduct feasibility studies on the new energy industry and demonstration projects. In December 2018, Korea's Hyundai Heavy Industries completed an eco-friendly power plant in Santa Marta, northern Colombia. This 93-megawatt power plant can reduce fuel costs and harmful exhaust gases by selectively using LNG and diesel oil according to the power supply and demand situation. In August 2021, at the Korea-Colombia Trade and Investment Forum, the two governments discussed ways to strengthen cooperation in the clean energy field. The two governments agreed that international cooperation and collaboration are necessary to respond to climate change and achieve carbon neutrality, and they agreed to work together. In November 2022, the first public-private joint discussion was held to revitalize the hydrogen industry and to strengthen cooperation between Korea and Colombia. At this event, the two countries shared the status of hydrogen industry implementation and discussed ways to discover cooperation models and strengthen their networks.
So I heard the Colombian government is interested in eco-friendly mobility. What is the current status of eco-friendly mobility in Colombia?
Urban public transportation is based on BRT systems. In Bogota, the BRT system operator is changing the buses from diesel to electrical buses. Today, the fleet, nearly 15% of the fleet is electrical, and the goal is to have at least 50, the half of the fleet electrical in the next, I would say, 5 years. The other part of the policy is related with electrical vehicles, particularly for private vehicles, small vehicles. There are tax incentives for people who buy electrical vehicles or hybrid vehicles.
Hybrid and electric vehicle sales in Colombia are increasing year by year. The annual number of new hybrid and electric vehicles sold in 2022 was around 27,000 units, increasing ninefold from approximately 3,000 units in 2019. Behind the continued rise in hybrid and electric vehicle sales are the Colombian government's various incentive support measures. The government has been providing various benefits, such as VAT reduction and exclusion from the alternate no driving system when purchasing hybrid and electric vehicles, to promote the distribution of eco-friendly vehicles.
The other change that we are facing, and actually not only the Embassy of Colombia to Korea, but the different embassies around the world are looking for, is to attract investments from different countries to build the railroad infrastructure in Colombia. Obviously, the modern trains are electrical trains, so it's going to be a major transformation in terms of green mobility in Colombia, because today 95% of the cargo and also the general population transport between cities are done by trucks and buses. There's another subsector among the transport sector that are taxis. If you go to Colombia, what you are going to see is that 95% of the fleet is Korean. And we definitely see that there is a big chance to do a project along with the Korean car manufacturers to change that fleet for electrical vehicles. And it could be a global success case if we can do it and show quick results.
Other than electric mobility, is there any other sector in clean energy that we could work together?
What we have researched is that Korea has a strong sector, for instance, cables to transmit the energy to one point to another. We can attract Korean companies, do partnership with local transmission companies, power transmission companies in Colombia that are companies that already have a participation in different countries in Latin America. I'm going to just put an example. ISA is responsible for at least 50% of the power transmission in Brazil. So to do partnerships between the Korean companies that are in the electrical sector and these companies, the power transmission sectors, companies in Colombia, and seek how these companies can take Colombia as a nearshore platform. Just to attend them, you are going to have a very good part of the Latin American market, but also have a competitive position to supply to United States and even Canada. There are not just the free trade agreements, but also the geographical localization and the frequencies, the maritime frequencies to get to the major American markets in a very competitive way.
While listening to the ambassador's story, it occurred to me that one of the ways the two countries could become closer is by working together to solve mutual problems. And one of those problems will be energy transition. Climate change is not just one person's problem, but it is a common problem for humanity. Using this episode of Diplomat Talks as a bridge, I hope that our two countries will work together to respond to climate change and become closer.
Oh, this is beautiful because I received the one with my last name only.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Well,
not
this is
one.
your full name. Alejandro Palaez Rodriguez. Alejandro Palaez
So
Rodriguez.
it's just like this.
Yes.